Hey Nation, look, I'm Jack Butland. YouTuber down. Now realistically, as we fix the screen, troops, and try and repair what's left of not only my dignity but also the studio, there is a video to rock and roll with. So hello everyone, this is CagentOvo992 and today we are back with another brand new video with the shoulders here, probably to severe injury in the old kneecap. We're here to relive and go through an absolute peak roller coaster of Scottish football as Rangers came back from the depths, came back for plastic hell. And I'm not talking about the bin at a plastic surgeon's house, nah, I'm talking about Rugby Park, a place historically we are horrific in, as that win right there is only our 5th in our last 13 visits to troops. And based on that game, based on the emotion, based on that roller coaster, there was madness in Scottish football. And just like Alderaan, ladies and gentlemen, suddenly voices just went quiet as a fan base that wasn't involved in this fixture is now starting to worry as Rangers went to Rugby Park, the toughest test on the calendar, and came away with all three. The feeling that I've got right now is absolute relief, because that there is as big as it gets. Look, nothing's been won the day or anything like that. There's still a hell of a lot, but there were still niggling little questions in the back of the head, not only from outside but in ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, what is this Rangers team all about? What has this Rangers got? Are they false pretenders or are they real and in this title race? Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you look at the last 2 games, we faced Hearts, who at that point were the most informed team in Scottish football, with who at that point was, in fact he still is, as he scored a couple goals as well, but also the most informed striker in Scotland. We dispatched them despite them not losing since early December. And then we came to a place, again, historically we are absolutely dreadful in. And up to this game, before we ended up beating them 2-1, we're undefeated at home versus Old Firm teams all season long. And it's no nipping out draws and being frustrating that way. No, they played 3 matches against the Old Firm at Rugby Park going in to this game. They had won all 3. They had played the Old Firm 6 times before today. They had only lost 2 games. That was the challenge on a wet, windy night on that surface that was ahead of Rangers. And for a large majority of the game, especially with the decisions made by the manager, which we will speak about in the next couple of minutes, that didn't look lightly, as it looked like a familiar story, as familiar failures were brought in. And that's what we were getting on the park. But half-time came. The iffy players went. The players on form, the physical players go on the actual park, and this game changed. And thank God for it, ladies and gentlemen, because I've already said it, but that win is absolutely massive for this football club. But now, anybody laughing or anyone hoping for this and wait to Rugby Park, wait to that, past it. But despite my glee and despite my joy, there is still things that I need to discuss and things I certainly wasn't happy about. So follow me in this really interesting journey, because it's a very important flip of the coin. When you saw Hearts, everything went right on that day, you know what I mean? We were absolutely perfect, but then everything nearly went wrong, but we still got the exact same amount of points, and that truly is what makes you champions. Being able to win games differently, going to difficult places, no playing well and picking up all 3 points. This is all the type of momentum, this is all the type of confidence that's been void in our seasons upon seasons over the last couple of years. But now it's truly here, and the Baldy Belgian is certainly leading the helm. But let's talk about the start of the game then, shall we? Let's talk about a couple players as well. I want to talk about the players on the park that went ahead and done it, because they were just as influential in getting this win as the manager on the sidelines that we absolutely love. James Henry Tavernier. That's right, I middle named him, ladies and gentlemen. You know what that means. It's serious right now. This man continually gets discredited and moaned at Grum. I've moaned and criticised individual performances because that's what I do right here. You know what I mean? I look at the games upon game basis, but how many times have I sat here and took so much crow for saying how big this is? And I know it's no the large majority of the sport. There is just a small part of the sport that doesn't rate this laddie. But for me, I'm on the lad's side. A lot of you guys in the comment section below, where would we be without James Henry Tavernier? That is what's scary. This man, just this season, has 20 goals, troops, and 10 assists in 43 games. Fair right back, that's right. I said the iconic phrase, but it's real, troops, and this guy's ridiculous. Oh, he's a penalty merchant. Oh, that's absolute crap. Look at the amount of goals he scored for his football club. 121 goals was his penalty the day. No spectacular as it's a phenomenal free kick when the pressure is on. The game's gone ugly. We're no doing anything. We couldn't do right for wrong. Up steps Tavernier, tells Ridvan, stand there, wee man. The skip dog has got this, and the big man steps up and scores a free kick goal as big as it gets in a season. You talk about leading, you talk about doing this. Well, this is how he leads. He leads by example because there's nobody, just nobody anywhere near him in terms of output. And I know it gets said too much, you've heard it from me for years, but we'll never truly understand what we have in Tavernier until he's gone. We can't blame him because some of the duffers he's had to play with. If everybody was up to his standard and his standards that he sets in terms of numbers every single season, he would have the trophy hall that man actually deserves. But again, I'm sitting here after a big game, needing a big performance, and who gave us it? The skipper. That goal right there, spectacular, and a game that was absolutely horrific. And with truly how horrific this game actually was, we had to rely on another player to keep us in this game long enough for Tavernier to step up and do what Tav does, and that's the man in between the sticks. Jack Butland's impact in this Rangers team can't be said. I know there's a lot of discussion about England caps. He should be. He's just better than little T-Rex and the other injury-prone goalkeepers that's cutting about in England right now. Take your bias, take your hatred off the table. You look at him as a player. What you're getting there is the best English goalie about there. I've said it. Feel free to click, but for me, it's just, I'm seeing it. Double saves in Europe, 1v1 save, 1v1 saves, quick off his line. And the saves he made today was simply sensational. They say a goalie will win you 10 points in a season. That's the difference between a good goalie and a great goalie. 10 points. But where have we jumped up? Because the amount of saves and big moments this lad's doing, the amount of Butland bailouts we've had this season, just goes to look at the points total, and I absolutely love him. And I think when you look at this game, we'll forget about how bad the performance was. We'll forget about this and this, but what should be remembered is the two individual performances that helped solidify this win. That was Jack Butland and Tavernier. The two players stepped up when we needed two people to step up, and that's why we're sitting here with a smile on our face, and no, the other way. But as I try to mentally recover from the fact that I've just jumped across the studio and hit my head off a radiator, I think it's time to get into the actual game recap then, shall we? And let's get to it, because this game was so ugly, and I think the ugliness was quite obvious to see the second we saw the lineup. And I never tweeted it again because I know how we feel about Barisic, right? And believe it or not, despite what I need to say then when the game's on, or when I'm going to have to say in today's video, I didn't want to really cause a pile on. I looked at his name, I saw 31, my arse clenched, because I knew what's going to happen, you know, because big games, Barisic shrinks. He's good against the St Johnsons, you know, the budget bullies, squads that you can go and dominate, as you'll have 99% of the time, and you will be able to hit 107 crosses in, because the 108th one will end up being a beautiful assist and we'll all sing his song and everything like that. But I know what I get in these types of games is this performance isn't shocking to me, and I could go into it in great detail and I could break it down, but he's gone now, mentally, I think. I don't know if he's been bogged down after what's happened in the last couple of seasons, but he's not been right defensively over the last couple of years. And soon as I saw it, it made me extremely nervous, because we talked about it yesterday. Not only do we have the plastic park and everything like that, but I rate this Kilmarnock side really, really highly. I think they're dangerous in the right areas. They've got real threat. Or the park, and they're very fast and very athletic. And Barisic was brought in possibly for his height. And can I just talk to you for a few seconds, right? This is absolute backwards thinking nonsense. We need physicality when we play a Kilmarnock, when we go to Rugby Park. We didn't need height, because Ridvan is more physical and a better defender than Ridvan. I think you saw that in the second half. Oh, the pure joy that they were having doing that side was nullified. Dessers came on, physical. Oh, they're pressing in that, they were running Silva off the game. Nullified. Sterling doing the other side on for Ross McCausland, sorry. They couldn't get anything going with his physicality and all them. Suddenly nullified. You need people that's in a fight, and for me, I look at Barisic and I see a guy that's just went a couple too many rounds. And it sucks, and again, it's never ever personal when I have to sit here and say this, but I can't lie to yous and just feed yous absolute crap. I didn't need to toe company lines or be pals with this or that. We're independent right here. We can have true thoughts, and Barisic has just ran his race, and I hope there's a lesson learned, because there was a lesson learned the last time he started the big game away to Pittodrie, where the same thing, he just got bullied and ran all over, and Ridvan had to come in to the actual game. Well, that game's gone, and he wasn't selected for another big game all this time. But then maybe Clement's went, let's see if he's got a wee bit of now. Let's give Ridvan a wee bit of rest. Can we rely on Barisic? It was evident to say no, because he wasn't the worst in terms of, he wasn't the only one that was bad in the first half. Can I just say that? A lot of them really were, but we just caused their own problems, and it seems like such an obvious one. As Barisic terrified me, but Silva was dreadful, and wee Ross McCausland was just too lightweight. You could see the problems, and I was begging for subs 5-6 minutes into this game. I'm not kidding. You saw it on Twitter. But in saying that, Goulton should have scored a header 7-8 minutes into the game of football. Tavernier whips in a wonderful set piece, reminiscent of Goulton's last goal, by the way, at Rugby Park. Met it perfectly. It's just too central to the goalkeeper. But then Kilmarnock start having their joy. They start getting down the wing position. They whip their own short corner routine in, and Donnelly should score here as he's got a free header. Then you're saying, right, it's 1-1 in free headers. Can we just get on the ball? Barisic just past the butland. Is he going to just kick the ball out? No. He's fell. He's feigning injury. He's just picked the ball up, and it's a handball against Rangers. And this is a difficult one for me to actually look at, because yes, there is minimal contact, troops, right? But he's took 5 or 6 steps, then flopped there and rolled the boot, and he's holding his ankle. He's gone, see, that's just embarrassing for me. I didn't care who it is, it's embarrassing. I remember Cantwell done a dive, and I called it out then and there, you know what I mean? And this is the same sort of stuff. Am I getting a free kick? No. Okay, that's nothing in that. You're in a title fight. Roll the socks up, pass it back to your goalie, or kick out and give your defenders a chance. That nonsense isn't for me, ladies and gentlemen. Now, it's not directly responsible for us conceding the goal, but I obviously played a major part in it, because they get a set piece, they then play it short, and John Lundstrom jumps up like that, and it hits his arm. I know his arm then comes away after it, so I think the still image after it's hit the ball is actually a lot worse. But I thought, VAR's going to look at that and probably no give it, because of the answers we got from the independent VAR review a month ago? Remember they looked at the John Suter one, ironically, versus Kilmarnock, said they made a mistake on that. Well, I thought common sense would prevail, and it wouldn't look at it, but VAR wasn't interested, just like they weren't yesterday in the Ross County game when there was a clear handball. It's no working, troops. Get the idiots out for the machines, because they don't know what they're actually doing. Get better refs. It's no VAR. It's no that. It is the terrible officiating, and the fact they can't do their jobs. But whatever the penalty was given, you've then got to take your medicine and try to get on with it. And I thought it was funny. This is how incompetent the referee is, and I like that Jack Butland put the referee in his place. Jack was trying to play mind games with Armstrong by standing in the net and slowly walking forward to then do his dive, and the referee's telling him to jump on his line. Get to his line. You didn't need to do that. Learn your own rules if you're going to officiate in this country. And Jack Butland waves him off and says, no, I didn't need to do that. I just need to make sure I'm touching the line when I actually dive. We've got a goalie during a game needing to teach a referee the rules. Is anyone paying attention? But the penalty is eventually taken, and Jack Butland's really unlucky with his trailing leg as he just misses Armstrong's opener. But good penalty, low and hard, and again Butland can't get his leg to it, and there we're 1-0 behind. And the way that this actually unfolded was, whatever you want to say about the penalty, let's move on about the fact that it's given the new, right? But a nothing simple ball, Barisic just needs to pass to the goalie or kick it out, but ends up running and feigning injury and everything like that. It's needless nonsense. We're in a title fight. We need fighters. No, whatever that was attempted to be. But moving on for the game, where my real worry was, despite Cortez taking a beautiful touch, hitting a good shot that was well saved by the goalie, by the way, I couldn't see where the goal was actually coming in the first half. And you saw, if you follow me on Twitter or X, whatever it's called these days, I went back to the Cantwell sub in European football when it wasn't working, and he was withdrawn early on in the first half for a tactical change, and with how poor he was apparently that day, which again, when you look back at it, was it that bad? than he thinks. When you look at the likes of Barisic and that, what do they need to do to get subbed early in the game? Because he swung and missed it. In fact, no, he didn't swing and miss it. He tried to volley it, ended up kicking it backwards, giving a corner away that Donnelly thankfully hit wide. Just again, that's nearly another one he's gifted away. Then he's pulling guys back, getting booked, and I'm saying this guy's going to end up getting sent off. I was terrified 30 minutes into this game because every time they went down our left-hand side, it was wide open. But again, it wasn't just Barisic and the rest was all sunshines and rainbows. No, we couldn't keep a ball at all. It was like everybody was playing with Timbies on the middle of the park, couldn't get nothing going. And the front three was just far, far too lightweight. And it was obvious, you know what I mean? I sat and talked about it yesterday. We need the likes of Desser's physicality for that type of game. Silva's a very, very talented football player. But that's no the game for him. And I feel like Clement did get the mistakes in there. Because it's easy just to keep making Barisic the scapegoat and Barisic this. Because yes, I know he was bad. But sometimes you need to just look at some of our favourites and say, I think Clement got it wrong in the first half. And that's alright to make mistakes if you can go ahead and change it. And we've seen manager after manager. Gio was a sickener for it because when Gio got it right, by God, we were amazing. Pulling the likes of Dortmund. But when he got it wrong, he would double down on it and no change it, and that's what cost him his job. And you know what Michael Beale is all about, no changing it, sticking to the game plan. What I really rate is it can be as bad as that can be in the first half, and Clement isn't scared to make the changes. That's where, if people say, I can't believe you're criticising Clement, no, I think he deserves to be criticised for the first half because it was too lightweight. It was completely the wrong choice and lineup that he actually selected, but he was big enough to admit his own mistakes and change it at half time, and that leaves me in a very good state and a very, very comfortable position to say that there is a manager that's willing to take risks but willing to change those risks before it actually bites us in the you-know-whats. But again, before we get to the changes that were badly needed and badly craved by every Rangers fan, there were still moments in the game, and the moments, Goldson had another free header that he kind of ballooned over the actual bar. It's frustrating because he actually played pretty well defensively. I thought the days, 2 headers in the 94th and the 96th minute are as important as maybe the goals and the saves. That might be ridiculous as some people said, but he's up there because if you look behind him, Van Veen's there every single time. But Goldson's big, he's brave, he gets his heel on it. But again, just attacking wise, he can never get his cinder block on the actual bad boy. But carrying on, we're nearly where our worst enemies again is Diomande, the man who's been touching gold every time he steps over the white lines in a Rangers shirt. Nearly causes the second goal as he tries to pass it back to Butland, and it's far, far too slow. Now, it does have a hold of the Kilmarnock player's jumper, and I feel like, or shirt I should say, and I feel like if the Kilmarnock player drops to the deck, Diomande is off-skate, but because he plays on, because Dio lets go at a certain point and allows the Kilmarnock player to run 15, 20 yards to get a 50-50 with Jack Butland, that allows Butland to bail Rangers out, thank God again for Handsome Jack as he kicks it out the park. But Dio's quite lucky there because I think if the Kilmarnock player isn't so honest to stay on his feet and keep on charging that down and drops down, there's a big decision to make there for the goalkeeper, and aye, he doesn't. The guy runs 15, 20 yards on. It's a 50-50, could go either way. You can't pull it back and then send them off. I've seen some people screaming, Diomande should have still been sent off. Why? Ladies, it was played on, and then there was a 50-50 between Butland and the actual defender, and Butland won it. But we get to half time and the changes needed to be made, and it's interesting because it just shows you how easy it is to fall into familiar failures. I thought when Barisic was playing, it just became so obvious. All we wanted to do was pass it to Barisic, and he just kept trying to cross it. It's Ross McCausland, but cross it. Silver, Ross McCausland, cross it. Horrific. So eventually the half time ends up coming and we get a bit of imagination in terms of Ridvan running forward, cutting inside, going outside, adds something different and makes the Kilmarnock job a hell of a lot worse. So Ridvan on for Barisic and Silva came off for Dessers, and folk were laughing at me yesterday for talking about Dessers so much, but it just screams to me, you know what I mean? I watched so much a Kilmarnock for that preview video. I was screaming out for big Dessers, and I know he didn't get into the back of the net today and hit his bar and had his usual no shot, but the difference, ladies and gentlemen, when Ridvan and Dessers made to us going forward can't be understated. It was just a difference like that. But before we do go ahead and talk about the changes we made going forward and how it affected us going forward, I should say Kilmarnock should be 2-0 up once. Again, as Matt Kennedy hits this his boot as well as it is. The low cross comes in, Suter can't get his fit to it, he's kind of stumbling over it, allows kind of a tap in at the middle / back post area. Matt Kennedy is everything, absolutely drills it, but somehow, some way, Jack Butland, ridiculous big boy save, and that there was the McGregor moment of old. McGregor at his peak, holding in this Rangers team. That's what you need. That's what Rangers successful teams have been built upon. The goalie that can make that save. And now we finally have one in Jackie Butland. Again, it was kind of gone for McGregor's last couple years as he had to continue to pull the gloves on because we never recruited well enough. Well, Butland does it there, and let's not forget again Butland's impact in this game, as that save is absolutely unbelievable. And I guess you could say, from a Kilmarnock perspective, if that ball hits the back of net, do you deserve to be 2-0 up against Rangers 46 minutes into the game? Aye, they really did. But Butland said nah. And again, that brick wall in the back line allowed us to start going forward. Ridvan starting to be positive, starting to ask some questions. Dessers holding off defenders, that allows Lawerence to be able to run with the football, run into space, and Lawerence ends up having a shot, but Mayo shoves him in the back. It's quite clearly a free kick, and up steps Tavernier. All the pressure on him. We've already broke down the goal in a way, but it's absolutely perfect in those conditions, and what a moment that was for the skipper. I'm so glad that he gets to have another one. Picks the ball up, demands more, and then we make the other substitution I feel like we needed to make. Ross McCausland off for our boy Dejon Sterling, and again, what a difference, troops. Left back fixed, striker fixed, right wing fixed, physicality. I'm not saying all the players that were subbed off aren't good enough or they're really poor or blah blah blah, but for this game, in an individual cases, against one of the most physical teams, you need physicality. And the second we put it on, it was a completely different game. Kilmarnock deserved to be 3-0 up 50 minutes in to that game. About the time we done our changes and started looking like a Rangers team, again, we started to create chances willy-nilly, if you will. And the goal, I'm so glad it's for Tom Lawerence, because I always said a Lawerence would have a say in the old title race in terms of this season. And what's great is he actually makes a run from Dessers down the left-hand side. He gets the bump, but he's straight back up, plays it quickly. There's no let's wait for Barisic or Tavernier to whip it in because we're motionless robots under Michael Beale. No, he just puts the ball down, kicks it right away. Oscar Cortez couldn't stand. He looked like Bambi for the majority of the day, but this time on the feet, drives into the box, forces Mayo into what was a really good save. Really good slide tackle. He made a save later on, but good slide tackle right there. But it goes back to Tom Lawerence, who's back up from getting fouled. Hits a wonderful shot that only he can actually make. The same goal, or the same type of shot that he's created for Cantwell to score in big moments. Well, he finally gets his. It's a wonderful finish, and in the space of 5 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, Rangers have started looking like a Rangers team. Rangers has physicality in the team. Rangers has good players on the park. And Rangers have took the lead. And again, we started to make chances after that. Tavernier whips in another great ball for Big Dessers. And again, the guy's just no good luck. If he's got luck, he's Haaland. Genuinely. He just runs on it, volleys it, hits the underside of the bar and it comes out. How does the ball hit the underside of the bar and come out? I suppose you could ask Frank Lampard, right enough. But aye, hits the underside of the bar, comes back out, you're like, oh, and then Oscar Cortez goes off holding the back of his hamstring, and Alexis Scotty Wright comes on. And I want to say something about Scott Wright, and I want to say something about Raskin, who came on about 5 minutes after that, because I have been critical of both players this season, and I feel like it's been fair. I've been critical on both players, but I thought Scott Wright came on and actually done an impact. And again, I'm not changing my opinion, or you know how I feel about Scotty, but I feel like he came on, bought in, got stuck in, and done his job. And I thought Raskin broke things up, had a beautiful kind of interception about the 78th minute as Donnelly looked to run inside the box from Greg Stewart's cut pass. I thought it was going to be a penalty kick, but when you see it back, it's brilliant tackling for Raskin, and that's the best I've seen of that lad in a long time. He created a wee chance with Diomande as well, as he plays a nice little 1-2. Diomande tries to curl it with the outside his foot, but it goes just wide. Shout out to the substitutions in this game. They really grabbed this game, every single one of them, where you like or you have favourites. Everyone bought in and played their part and played a major part in turning this game around. But it's a Rangers game, ladies and gentlemen, and we've already had one penalty given against us, and there should have been more penalties given in the game. There's one where Dessers again, he just runs, shows great pace, wins a 50-50, runs, and I'm saying, just hit it, big man. Please say you've learned your lesson. But then he cuts in again, tries to cut back out, it comes back up and hits the hand. Now his hand is out slightly. I'll be honest, right? I'm just a silly guy that sits here, tries to make people laugh, and we try to talk about the football. I don't know the ins and outs of football because the rules changes every 2 weeks. But that yin is more of a handball than John Lundstrom's here at the back. And the one 5 minutes after, while you disagree with Finley's one being a handball, you just have to look into yourself and admit that's a penalty for Mayo. These days, that's a penalty. The ball goes out wide, we whip it in. I can't remember, I think it's Scotty Wright actually that whips the ball in. And he just, Mayo, good honest pro, he just puts his hand out, it hits his hand and it stops the ball from going to Dessers. It's clear and obvious a penalty kick. VAR looks at it for a long time, but then Disney asks the referee to come to the monitor. Now this is confusing to me, right? And I want somebody to explain it because I'll hold my hand up. I didn't know every incurrency inside a rule book, right? I don't know the ins and the outs and the A, B, C, 27. I have to go into this folder, look to the back of the index, pull that out, shine it up here, check if it's real, they'd spit on it. I don't know the rules, troops, right? So if this is a handball, right? If this is a handball, why is this no a handball? Do you know what I mean? Why is that this here handball when it's going to hit the back anyway? Where's he supposed to shove his hand? Up his arse? Or this isn't a handball? Somebody explain it in the comment section below. That would be great. If I could get Bobby Madden to break down a beautiful Instagram, that would be cool. But the referee's too scared to give. A penalty kick allows the game to get really, really nervy in the last couple of ways, and that's when you need big players to step up. And it was great that the big gladiator, big Connor Goldson, was the one. Every time the ball came in, header. That's the best of Goldson I've seen in a while. That's what I know Goldson can actually be. He just stood up and says, nah, no the day. That's what we had. We had three players truly that says, nah, no the day. Jack Butland, James Henry Tavernier, and Connor Goldson. That's your three for me. What about you? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down there in the comment section below. As much as I've frustrated or been maybe negative to certain parts of this game, trust me, I am in love with this win and I'm in love with this scoreline. 2-1 to Rangers, a massive 3 points, and hopefully lesson learned in who we can trust in big games and who we can't. When it gets physical, put the physical guys actually in. And do John Sterling, man. Do you know what I mean? I didn't even think I mentioned him in terms of a highlight or build-up, but his impact, if you watch that game, chasing down, winning, G-ing the crowd up, running here, left wing, right wing, just absolute unbelievable. I can't wait to see your opinions down there in the comment section below. Massive, massive win right there. And as always, I've been CJ92. Thank you so much for watching. All the best and bye-bye.